Hey everybody, welcome to my train room. If it's your first time here, my name is Don and this is the CCP&T O-Gauge Railroad. Today it's all going to be about updates and an overview of the layout. I've made a couple pretty extensive changes for those of you that have seen some of my earlier videos. And I've noticed we've got quite a few new subscribers here in the last few weeks. So in light of that, I thought those people have probably not had an opportunity to see the entire layout. So right now, sitting down here by the station, I got the Denver Rio Grande Western 801 sitting there. I thought what we do is we'll fire that up, and we're going to take that and go around the entire track. So if we get to a spot where I've made some changes, we'll stop off. I'll kind of explain the changes I've made, and then we'll keep up with the tour. And when we get done, we'll have gone over the entire layout and came back and bring the engine back here to the station. So let me get on the other side of the camera and we'll get started. All right, let's get going here. We're going to start out and we're just going to take the loop that takes us around the lower level. So that's where we'll get this thing started. As you can see, the upper level's in place, a new one. So we're going to be going through a tunnel here. Let me get my switch made around. And coming out about this side right in here. Now, I kind of discussed this a little last time, but let's slow down right here. And you can see we have a switch right here, kind of disappearing in, and that switch is headed to the next room. It's going behind that wall. That is the staging area and yard where I can set up trains and then bring them in here. So, hang on, I gotta back somebody up here just a bit, because somebody forgot to flip the switch. All right, now we're ready. Let's keep going on the lower level. Again, if we get into this corner, they'll be going into a short tunnel there for just a bit. And now he's about to enter this tunnel. And he's going to be in there for quite a while because he's got to go all the way around to this side over here. So he's got about, I'd say about 12 to 14 feet inside the tunnel. I can access it from everywhere all the way around though. So now we'll come around here, back into a short tunnel. This one only lasts just a couple feet. And these are the buildings. I think I showed you these the last. Those are my two scratch-built buildings that I made. Hang on right about here for a second. All right, you can probably see that engine sitting on a piece of tubular track. If you've been around, well, there was another fast track siding right there. And the switch was there towards the back end. I needed the switch. And I'm thinking of making some changes here. So I went ahead and pulled it out. I had that engine sitting around. I just set him on there to show you there will be a siding coming back in that location when I get all said and done. But I'm going to make a couple changes here later. And so for now, that's just going to sit there. So let me get him started again. And I need to come down and get ahead of him because I need to flip the switch. All right, there we go. Now we're going to start the incline And the incline will be inside the tunnel, just like the other. Let's go down the other side and we'll catch him when he comes out. This is probably about a 2% incline. And he'll be going in and out of a tunnel here fairly quickly, and we're going to stop him. Now, this is where, I know I told you guys in the last video I was going to work on this, and I haven't yet. This mountain, I didn't because I made some changes. This mount, what will be a mountain, is removable. So I can pick that off, do all the scenery work, set it back into place. Then I'll do the scenery work in front of it, but the top will always be removable. So let's get over to this section of track. And you can see there are two switches here. And then there are two lines of track, if I can get them. Yep, you can see them both. Two lines of track there. There used to be a switch here that made a reverse loop. And I had the lower level and a second level, and a switch there made the reverse loop. But I now have a third level, and that track is heading off over here. So instead of the reverse loop, I now have a crossover, because you do have a problem of two trains meeting in opposite directions, because the lower level has reverse loop, the upper level has reverse loop. So the middle would be the only place where maybe trains could meet. So I put a crossover here, and I'm going to slide ahead. We'll leave the train sit there. Going to come all the way over this corner, and here is a crossover here. So I have two left switches here. There was two right switches back there. I have my two crossovers, and now I have a way for trains to meet if two of them are in the opposite directions by just using the crossovers. So let's get him started again. And for now we're going to go straight. As long as you continue straight and don't use the crossovers, you actually go through 4 switches, but you never take the curves. You always use the straights. I think that'll help keep trains on the track a little better. Switches are the problem. And now we're going by my mining area where I scratch built that building. And we're going to come down and take a stop here real quick. I redid my waterfall. This hill or mountain, if you're new, was actually O gauge, or excuse me, HO gauge. And I didn't want to get rid of it, so when I made the switch to O gauge, I just changed the layout a little bit, modified it, and I was able to use the O. The waterfall was kind of small for HO, so I decided to make it a little bit bigger. And of course, when I made it a little bit bigger, if it's quiet enough, you can actually hear the waterfall going. Well, actually, I guess you can't hear it going. It's just if I edit the video and add some sound to it, you can. Which gave me an idea. Could I put a speaker behind that and put the waterfall sound on a continuous loop and have sound of my waterfall? I'm thinking about it, so we'll see. All right, let's move on. From here we're going to go around behind the mountain. This was part of the original reverse loop. Oh, I should, when I get here, I should stop and discuss one thing. I mentioned earlier that while I love these Lionel 022 switches for my tubular track, it's tough to hide them. That's the part I hated. I did on my sidings or my yard. I like to use the fast track because these are so hard to hide. And here's the other aspect. Look at those lights. I know they're supposed to be out there and shine the lights so you know which direction it's going. But trying to film video or do pictures and make it look kind of realistic, it's kind of tough with those lights shining that way. I left them for now, but eventually I will pull the bulbs out of there and I won't use them because they kind of mess up my pictures. And both of those switches, just as the other two, are wired together. Actually, right now you can probably see the wires laying there. I need to drill a hole and run them under the table, but I was just trying to make sure they worked. So when you flip one switch, the other one goes automatically. And the same thing works on the other end. So how do you know? Well, let me just pan around here. And that is, I have the remotes. They have the remote switches, they're lit up, so they're gonna tell me if you're going through the curve or if you're going straight. And as I said, you can see these are wired together also. I need to hide the wires there. So anyway, that's what I mentioned before about the bad part of these switches, and the lights don't help. So this would actually be it's still mainline, but between the two, one of these could actually be used as a siding if needed. All right, so let's head up the next incline. Again, back under a tunnel. Man, I'm gonna have so many tunnel portals to build. And I don't have any backdrops on here yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be all cloud sky. It is not going to be any mountains. We'll stop here just, well, let's take him out on it and then we'll stop him. Now, what I'm going to do up here, I'm not 100% sure. At one time, you can see a siding, and I thought there's going to be a big mountain here. And I'll put a big mountain, and maybe I'll put another mining operation or a logging operation, and that would give me my siding to stop at. But now I'm starting to have second thoughts. I'm starting to think I may throw in a siding. I need to still put some more table out this way, which means I might be able to move the track out another 4 or 5 inches. And I might put a town here. I might put the town of Trinidad here on top of this and not worry so much about a siding. I like to do switching, but to be honest, if I come down here, I've got a siding there. I've got my station. I've got another siding there. I've got another siding way over there. And then if you go later into the yard area, there will be all kinds of switching opportunities. So I'm thinking more of maybe a mountain here with a small town representing Trinidad. I do know where the train is sitting presently on that 2x4. That will be a huge trestle bridge, and behind that will be another waterfall. So maybe I can have stereo waterfalls if I get sound to them. Would that work? Anyway, we're still thinking about this, but this is the newest level. Let's move on and head back down to where we started. We do have the 022, the automatic switch there. And basically all we're doing now is just reversing everything. I think in this corner alone, I mentioned portals between the upper level, middle, lower level. I think there's going to be a need for, I believe, 7 portals, for tunnel portals in that area. So I think it's going to keep me busy for sure. Hey, you know what? For the heck of it, I'm going to bring him through here. Let's get him through this. And while he's going to be busy coming around the mountain over here, I'm going to reach behind me, if I can do this two at the same time. And I just flip the switches, and I flip the switches again. So now what he'll do, we have another train coming. Oh, I get him out here lower. I got to watch what I'm doing. Bring him down back to where he just came through. Now the train was coming uphill, could be in this front track or coming up the incline. And once he's passed, we'll come back down. So that's how the crossovers are going to work. Following a moving train sometimes isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. We'll catch him coming out. Oh, sorry about that window. Kind of forgot about that. And we'll put him back into the station instead of going all the way around the lower level this time. Well, there you go, guys. There's the layout from the changes with the crossovers back here to the whole new third level down there. We'll still think what we're going to do down there. I think we've got plenty of time. I've got a few other things to do on that and make our decision if we're going to put a town down there or not. But I'm kind of liking the idea of, instead of just one siding, going with the town of Trinidad and being able to throw a few more buildings in. Other than that, I am going to make a couple changes down here, not in the track layout. I think I'm going to remove my fast track from here. I'm going to pick up the fast track from here and put it over where I can use it in the other room. I'm going to change this to tubular. I need to wait for train shows. I got a couple coming up, one in March, one in May. I need a couple train shows because I need to buy some more the Lionel, the 022 switches. And usually you can get them at a pretty decent price in a train store. What I'd like to do is turn this all to tubular. I'll need some 022 switches out here. If I put them way out here, they won't be noticeable for any videos or pictures that I want to take or photography I want to do. So I just like the tubular when I start finishing it and making it look more realistic. I prefer the tubular over the fast track. So with that in mind, I think I want to change this. Possibly the next video, we'll see what it does. I want to show you, I need this section right here. I have these two lines back here. They have the ties are in, they're ballasted ties, and I've done the weathering. I've done the painting on this line, but this entire stretch in front of these buildings, I need to get the railroad ties put in and then put in the ballast. So I might show you how I weather the track to give it the rusted appearance, what I'm doing, how I'm making my own ballast or making my own ties, putting them in and ballasting everything. So maybe we'll see if we can get to that to the next video. Right now it kind of depends on the weather. It's been awful cold. You can see we're no t-shirts today. It's long sleeve out here. I heat this, but not all the time. So when it gets pretty cold, then I don't spend quite as much time out here. And from what I hear the next few days, I'm going to see a lot of below zero temperatures. So it might be a couple of weeks before we get back to this. We'll see. Maybe we can get it done by next week. We'll just see how that works out. But for now, we got the layout. You've got to see the updates for now. And hey, I'll see you the next time.